basically, we're just discussing that. We need to figure out which departments or programs that are going to be best for the best include the chief of police. Yeah. I don't think so. Okay. I don't think we need a motion on the chief of police. Maybe call the chief. I'll call the chief in the meantime. I'll call the contact with the other report. Okay, so at this time I'll turn it over to the DIA superintendent. It's Dina Goodell.
Good morning, Council. Valentine again, Industrial Coordination Specialist for this agency. What I wanted to share with you was a letter that was sent to the President dated January 22nd, 2025. So that's a misprint. It should be January 22nd, 2026. Okay? In that letter, it's coming from Andrea Wan, Self-Determination Officer. She stipulates the amount that's going to be sent to the tribe for the total award remaining contract support funds totaling $4,361,266. Okay? So that has been adjusted because we did have a meeting with the Chihuahua directly, and she wanted to include those salaries under the 2025 contract support fund. So there was a lot of work that was being done behind the scenes, and so we did calculate Chihuahua contract support funds for 2025. And because of the additional funds that is included, that will increase it to $4,483,278.77. That's going to be the total contract support funds for remaining for 2025. Okay? So let's clarify. The tribe was really honest about it. Therefore, it was designed and maintained and negotiated in the cost rate. Okay? So DIA will allow the tribe to go up to 4 years using the same index cost rate. Okay? So the last one was 2020. That was the last negotiated IDC rate. And because it was over and expired in 25, then we negotiated, and so now we're supposed to do that negotiation on behalf of the tribe for the 29.72 for 2025. Okay? So that's the price IDC rate that we used at that time was 29.72. And in that negotiation, because the tribe was behind in the audit and they were placed on 2022, that meant that the tribe should not receive any IDC rate funds. Okay? that was $2,181,357.63. So they did have access to this fund, so this was like $2 million, okay? That was the 33%, okay? So I just want to clarify that, yes, ma'am.
Question, so the 33.3% is, of the 29.7% we get a tax rate. We want to clear that up because sometimes I hear them talking that our indirect cost rate is 33.3%. Okay, very good.
Council, do you recall when I gave you a purple folder? And in the purple folder, it had all the letters regarding the sanctions, regarding the negotiation of the IBC rate. And in that purple folder, you should have had this worksheet. This worksheet gives you all of the contracts, current contracts that we have in place that we can negotiate the 25 contract support funds on. And so in this worksheet, it gives you how much the tribe will receive for those administrative fees, okay, the administrative costs to run these contracts, okay? So that was the issue. And in the, I believe that the green column shows how much IBC totals for that contract and how much direct, so indirect and direct contract support funds. That's what we refer to as contract support funds. So those were the two amounts. And if you go back to that sheet, you will see what those calculations are. Okay? So I just gave you the total, the combination of the indirect and the direct, and the total of that was $2,181,357.63. That's basic on this worksheet. The remaining, and because in early system regulations, because they didn't name the 22 single audits, and I did send out a letter, a no findings letter for the 22 audits. No significant findings, as you say. No significant findings. However, there was one regarding Office of Justice Services on the reporting portion of it. And so that's within that letter that was sent to the president. Okay? So the tribe submitted its 2022 audit on January 6th of 2026. And the letter of no findings was sent out on January, I believe it was on January 22nd as well, to the president regarding no significant findings on that single audit. Okay? So we are looking forward and hoping that the tribe will continue to move forward and run the 24 and 23 audits simultaneously, and hopefully we can move that forward so that the tribe, if the tribe submits those two audits, then what happens is they'll move down to sanction 1 instead of being on sanction 2. Okay? So that's the goal. That's what we're working towards. That was our meeting. We did have a meeting with the Director of Bureau of Indian Affairs, Mr. Brian Garcia. That also happened on January 22nd. And in that conversation, the president, some of the controversy, especially the finance committee, was present, and the regional director was also on that call. And so the senior warning official was willing to work with the tribe to bring them down to sanction 1 once 23 and 24. And what does that mean on sanction 1? Well, the tribe, we've been really working with the tribe hands-on through this whole process. We have not meant to be listed down. Sanction 1 means to be listed down. That's what sanction 1 is. Okay?
we only get money once a year anyway. So it really wouldn't have an impact very much. In fact, it might benefit us. Oh, I apologize, guys. This is Tony Mambo, OSU Acting Controller. And I do appreciate everything that you guys have been helping with. But, you know, the same thing as monthly. But we have not been able to draw down monthly. We've done it once a year. In September, past September 25, we got the money that should have been available the previous year. It should be available October 1st. So if we had money coming in monthly, or got the very CPA, that might be more beneficial. It would help our base tax. That was just a comment I wanted to say.
So just a clarification, in regards to Ms. Marshall, and maybe for bringing it out, in the perfect world, I believe Mr. Mercier did explain this, that when Congress does the appropriation to pass the budget, with the president, then the tribe would receive that money up front in that quarter. However, that's never been the case, since my experience in working with the Bureau of Military. We're working on a CR1, right, continuing resolution. And when Congress doesn't pass the budget, then we're working on a continuing resolution. When a continuing resolution is in place, you only receive 33% of what has been appropriated in the budget. And so, just keep in mind that we are under the auspice of Congress and its appropriations and the budget. Therefore, we cannot appropriate money we don't have, okay? So, when I talked about the monthly drawdowns, is for example, the CR1 funds. You wouldn't be able to draw down the whole amount. You would only be able to draw down a portion of that funds that month. Do you see what I'm saying now?
Right, but if it was available, it would help our accounts.
We do make the money available when Congress appropriates the monies, just like the CR1 funds. So, yes, we do make it available.
I have a question. Go ahead.
So, you know, and what I could think of is being able to draw that down significant is better for our tribe, because if we had to depend on it month by month and the government shuts down, then we would not have access to continue on. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
So, thank you for that. So just understanding that we've been giving you the access to the full amount. You've been able to draw down 100% of what's been appropriated versus doing it monthly. Do you see what I'm saying? So that you have full access to those funds when it's made available. And that's what we've been doing and working in conjunction with the tribe. So,
Another question.
okay.
Okay. So we get that appropriation once a year, and when we get caught up here, and the way I see it, unless there's something horrible that happens, we're gonna have 25 done by December. And do you think at that point, because, and I don't know if we're the only tribe that's in this predicament with getting funds appropriated to us once a year, but I think each tribe is different, each tribe is unique. Do you think we could get local BIA to lobby for us and say, hey, our people are the second largest land-based tribe, and we could get your support to help us that way?
Oh, I don't think they can lobby.
Well, maybe not lobby, but speak for us, represent us.
Not even that.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
aren't they here? Wasn't BIA put in place to work and represent the Oglala Sioux tribe?
so, let me just start when I say the funds, when the funds are appropriated, sometimes there's one-time funding that gets appropriated. And so we make sure that you get 100%, able to draw down 100% of those one-time funds that are appropriated. All funding doesn't come out at once based upon the different branches of government, and Congress appropriates those. So for example, we did get a lot of the social services CR1 funds, but we, for example, didn't get BIE funds yet.
road maintenance just now came in. So hooray, we finally got CR1's funds for road maintenance. This is what I'm talking about, making all those funds available for that drawdown. And it doesn't just happen once a year because there's all of these modifications that happen as the funds come in. So for example, the CR1, then you're gonna get CR2, right? So it's not just one time, once a year that these funds come in. It comes in throughout the fiscal year. That's why we do budget modifications, and then we're able to draw down these funds. And then I also provide the tribe with a report as to what funds are available that are sitting in the automated system, what we refer to as ASAP. And then it allows to see each contract, each modification, and the amount that's been inputted and released into ASAP, and what the final amount is at the bottom. So this is what we work with the tribe to make sure that the tribe is pulling down all the funds that is available to them, okay? And as far as lobbying on behalf of the tribe, we definitely work really hard for our tribes in making sure within our region that we are doing the best that we can to ensure that they receive the funds to provide the services to the people. Unfortunately, we cannot go to Congress and lobby Congress for these funds. This is where the president and you guys come in and help support that effort. Okay? Any other questions? Yes.
You know, I was listening to the news, and we might have another threat of a shutdown. So how is that going to affect the funding?
So with that means that there's going to be negotiation on the CR2 monies, right? And this is where they're going to be budgeting and going back and forth on that budget. And what's going to become available, what budget cuts are going to happen within different branches of the government. This is where all of those conversations take place. At this point, like I said, I've made sure and ensured that the tribe received all of its CR1 funds. I made that available. That happened quickly. Now that road maintenance is getting their CR1 funds, I'm going to make sure that a notice of funds available is out to the president, and we get the budget justification so that we can make those funds available to the program. And I'm working very diligently to have the spreadsheet ready for all the programs on the final contract support funds, that 66.7, that's the remaining amount for each of those programs, each of those contracts. So this is what I'm waiting on. Once the EFED, how the funds are transferred, the accounting code is sent to the region, then when it's released at the region, then they let us know, and then boom, I'm able to get the signatures and everything's ready to go to be inputted within ASAP or within PRISM, and then it goes over to ASAP. So there is quite a process and a lot of work that happens behind the scenes just to get these modifications and these funds into the system. It's a lot of work. So ensure that we are very working diligently, and we try to work smarter, not harder, but unfortunately, that's the process that we're in. There's just one of me in self-determination, so you can see that doing an award is about 67 pages of paper. That's an award. A modification is probably around 14 pages of paper. And so there's a lot of processes that happen in between all of that. So it just gives you an idea. Thank you.
I have a question. Go ahead, Councilman Standing Solar.
So, in your letter to President Starr comes up, it states the BIA agency Trust Services and Indian Services promotes a government-to-government relationship with the Oglala Sioux tribe. Now we take that and we run with it. You are part of the federal government in negotiating with the Oglala Sioux tribe. is there any way we can upgrade our government to go to Washington and find out exactly how much money is being allocated to the Bureau? That way that we can go through the Bureau and negotiate our prices. If we're going to be government to government, and that's clearly what you stated, government to government, we should have that negotiating power on our side also to be able to make them decisions. And I would just like to know how, at possible, could that be done? Either through the president's office, through maybe the finance committee?
So you do have that opportunity and representation at TBEC. And this is where you have your voice in negotiating your budgets, prioritizing what programs and services need to be at that level. So this is your opportunity to do that at that level. As government to government, the government does provide the tribe with funds called Aid to Tribal Government. These funds allow the tribe to improve their constitution. It allows them to be a little bit more flexible in hiring staff such as your legislative liaison, to be able to look at this, do your research that may be necessary. These are some of the opportunities. It's up to the tribe to direct those resources that benefits the tribe in the best possible manner. So there are your vehicles to help you.
Okay, and don't get me wrong, the only reason I'm asking these questions is because I'd like to know, and my colleagues would probably like to know, you know, to get us all on the same page of where the Bureau and the tribe stand. Because the first year is enough to get our feet wet, to learn how to argue in the circle and throw our point of view out there and everything. Now it's time to get down to some business and some work. So by asking these questions, I hope that everybody is learning along the way. That way we have some sense of where the Bureau sits, where the tribe sits, where TBEC sits. Because with all these in place, we should be an ideal tribe. We should be perfect. Thank you.
Can I comment on it? Again, TBEC is Tribal Interior Budget Council. And that's where all the tribes come together, all 12 regions. And they come together and they sit down with, each region has a representative, which is the chairman of the Great Plains and the regional, or the BIA regional director. And we sit there at TBEC for a whole week. And I always encourage council to come to TBEC just to learn the system and how it goes, because it's very important. And when I first came on in this administration, I had to learn the hard way too. But I took advantage of learning that. And I found out that we really weren't getting all our program input. So I started reaching out to programs and filling out that survey. And when you fill out that survey for all your programs, it's rated. And we prioritize from 1 to 10, just example, from which one to prioritize first. Whether it be transportation, education, roads, things like that. You prioritize all your programs. We take that data and we go and take it to the Great Plains level. Every tribe is supposed to do this, but guess what? Only a number of tribes were participating. So I took that initiative as being the chairman of the Great Plains to help them and the system, so we can get our numbers up there. So when we go to Washington, we can present those numbers of how we want to be represented. But you got to remember, there's 11 other regions there that do the same thing. And then we go out there and hash it out. Ours may be transportation, number one, but other tribal nations or regions will be education, for example. And then we get there, then we discussed on who to prioritize in the Indian country nationwide. That's kind of how it's set up. And all the feds sit up there, each day there's a different day going on, issues are being presented, and there's committees that sit there. And in Great Plains, we do have a voice at TBEC. If you ever go to TBEC, Great Plains is very vocal at this table. And it's great to see us present, active, and voicing. We got a good, strong team there, and that's representatives from each of the tribes that show up there. And there's always a certain groups that show up there. And we try to work with each other and help each other and how we can better our programs as a Great Plains region. So I'm very proud of our group, our region, and how we stand at a national level. And we have good representation. So that's how TBEC works. And that's how our funding gets prioritized at that level. But you are right, 2 years is not enough, and it's definitely not enough for the president, because by the time you get to know the key players, not only within your own tribe, tribal government, but you have to know your people out there on a national level, who to go to, who to lobby to, and all those programs that you need to know. And I try to stay up on news all the time. I watch news every day when I go home, go to sleep. But just to try to keep up on the daily events of what's going on around the national level, so we can be informed and stay up to date on current events, because it does affect us. It affects us big time. So that's basically how it's ran. But I definitely think the president should be at least 3 to 4 years. So by the time you learn the system and take action, you're already winding down. And right now I'm in a good position to where I can start pushing things, because I'm knowledgeable to take action on those things. So. And you're right, maybe the tribal council needs to stagger their terms so we have continuity. And that's another thing we need to look at. Instead of, we always do this, every 2 years, boom, 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 set a brand new council, and we have to start all over again. So it doesn't work for us, I believe. Anyway, that's my spew. Go ahead, Councilman Kelly.
Mr. Poyer had his hand raised first.
Dave, I didn't see you.
Good morning. And I know the people from the BIA here, but in the past, tribal government, the Oglala Sioux tribe anyway, has passed resolutions to do away with the area office, because they take a chunk of funds that's supposed to be coming down to us. And the reason they don't want to close the area office is because Aberdeen will dry up, because they depend on those employees over those government employees. Because when there's cuts that take place, it affects us, but yet they still get to keep their funding. And that's one of the things that the tribe has always said, that because Mr. Chair, how many times have you been to Aberdeen since you've been in office? 1, 2?
None.
See, that's what I mean. In the past, tribes used to go to the area office all the time to do their business. Now the business is done here and in DC. There's really not any purpose for the area office anymore, because all they do is we put in a request to the agency here, they send it up, and if Aberdeen wants to give us a little cupful, well, they might, and Because one of the things that bothers me is, remember, I don't remember who was the chair, but when we got the land back up in the hills in Rapid City, all of a sudden Aberdeen come up with $50,000 for law enforcement for our people to go patrol up there. But yet they couldn't give nothing down here for our local law enforcement. You know, so it doesn't make sense what they do. When we contracted the road department, you know what they did? They took all their equipment to Rosebud because they were still BIA. And then we got left with junk out here. That's why our equipment fails all the time. So, you know, we really have to think about doing away with the area office because they serve no purpose to us. Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of think that's the way the state, how it's going to funnel. By the time it gets to us, we got it's just a handful of change. That's kind of where I see it. And we did have committees come down and tour our reservation. And that's basically one of the committee members told us that he sits on one of the boards in Washington. So it's kind of how it operates. And that's why we always lobby for mandatory funding.
It's me again. Sorry. I do. I like what you said about Aberdeen. That's a lot of money that we could use here. But I have a question for Tina, and it's just an update. In September, and I'm very happy that you did that money that I drew down. In there was an error that BIA had given me. I drew down, I think it was $380,000, and it was for burial. And they took it back. What we had to do was wire it. And we haven't gotten an update now, and you know burial is one of our programs. We followed the instructions I received from Diane, who received from Tina the account number, the routing number, and the amount. And we haven't gotten that back. And in my eyes, that could have been a journal entry or something on their part, knowing how, you know, we're again facing a shutdown. So we can't do nothing on our part, but is there an update when we might get the money?
So this has been ongoing from November. I believe the attempt for the wire transfer back to, it's called an AHC transfer, and that's within ASAP. You only have one attempt at this process. However, this attempt was not successful. So the money was not returned to the BIA. Therefore, the tribe has to now do a little bit more extensive work in doing what they call a Fed wire. And they have to go to the bank. They have to get the instructions from ASAP. I cannot get the instructions for the tribe. The tribe has to do it themselves. They get the instructions from ASAP how to do a Fed wire. Then they go to the bank, and then the bank will help them process this Fed wire because it's more detailed. So that's the process for this $380,000. This is contract support fund dollars. Now, there was an accounting error on BIA's part. Yes, it was our mistake on that accounting line item. There's separation of duties, and with that, we're not allowed to input our own PRs, our own requisitions. So therefore, we depend on others to input our requisitions for us. And so with that, there is an error because we're so busy trying to get the funds out to the tribes. And unfortunately, this was one of the accounting errors that happened, was with burial assistance for $380,000 of contract support funds. Burial assistance does not receive that amount of money of contract support fund dollars. So therefore, we needed to return those monies so we can reissue we could do this within the same week, reissue the $380,000 of program funding, the program funding. Because if the program spends this contract support dollars, see, you cannot use indirect cost monies for programming. If you do, it's going to become a finding, okay? So therefore, that's why we tried to correct this. And we're not able to issue the 380,000 of program funding to burial assistance until we get this contract support dollars back to the correct line item. So that's the process, that's the update at this point. I've been calling every helpline that I could think of, going to every tutorial to try to figure out how to do this. And at this point, that's what the instructions were given to me, is that the tribe has to call and make sure that they do this Fed wire. And they have to call ASAP to get the instructions on how to do the Fed wire with the bank. So that's where that update is at.
Can I add to that? Sorry, it's me again. Everything Tina said is correct, but this is the key and this is the kicker. First National is a standalone. They do not work with ASAP in returning money. And I did let them know that there are two options, the wire, and we ended up going that way, or a voucher and do a check. But I don't know, nobody would listen. And so here we are. In September, I drew it down. October, she notified me. November, we did the wire, and we still don't have the money. But at this point, we can't call the bank. We got the confirmation. It said it was put there. And that's where we are with that.
Councilman Kelly?
Good morning. You know, I just wanted to expand on something that Norman had asked and some information coming from the BIA. You know, first, just for the record, you know, the awarding officials throughout the United States are far and few. And we are very fortunate to have one here within our reservation, because if I recall, there was probably 4 to 5 nationwide. And then people have to cover 578 tribes. So we are fortunate to have one here. But, you know, going back to, you know, Mr. Standing Soldier's comment, you know, you got to remember, you know, this budget that we receive is even though the president talked about TBEC, it actually goes a little bit beyond that. This budget is set 2 years prior to what we're receiving today in the Green Book, and we can get that information if we request a Green Book from the BIA. We can see what the budget is for this coming year. You know, a lot of the information that we have available to us could, you know, it's there in black and white in 25 CFR and 23 USC. The information is there for us. You know, I've had unfortunate circumstance to have to read all that stuff, so I kind of understand where it's at and how things work. But you got to remember also that the key players in all this are congressional delegates, and we've got 3 from the state. One of them really holds a lot of weight right now, Thune. He's a heavyweight hitter up there, because I know within the Department of Interior budget, when it comes to TBEC, say one of the programs, say it be the HIT program, needs an increase. And we as a tribe make that a priority listing. Well, now we're still in from, say, the road maintenance program to give them that increase. So that internal budget is just shifted around to accommodate what you're asking for. And it's not fair. You're right. It's not fair. So I think we need to go a little bit beyond that and start hammering our congressional delegates, because they have the authority whenever the president does his budget every year to increase that money for the Department of Interior. Their budget is just set like everybody else's. You know, Homeland Security, Department of Interior, Bureau of Land, it's all set. But we have to fight at a higher level. You know, I understand where T-Bec's at, and it's been stagnant for, over 20 years. You know, we haven't really made a substantial increase in that budget at all. All we do is shift money around. But I think we need to go a little bit higher. And I think, you know, like when it comes to lobbying, in the past, you know, as a director, I've been accused of lobbying by this committee or this council, but I did it in the best interest of the tribe. And some of the directors are in the same boat. And I commend Mrs. Spotted Bear and the rest of you that have taken the initiative to go to DC and advocate. But I think as a collective effort, we need to develop some that has a little bit more teeth, and we need to be in contact with our congressional delegates a little bit more. You know, I don't have much faith in our representatives for the district, but we can go beyond that. And I think that'd be the way to go. As for the possible continuing resolution that's coming down to CR2, you know, I've had to live through that stuff for a long, long time. And it seems like it happens every 2 to 3 years, and it's a burden on us. Most of the time, it's just a percentage based on the amount of days, the 60 days, the 45 days that Congress appropriates funding for. So I understand where the self-determination officer, what she's talking about. But I agree with you, Norman. We do need to go a little bit higher and a little bit harder on this in order to get something done. Thank you.
Yeah, just a comment real quick, and I'll turn it over to you, Norman. And Dave is right, you know, we need all those things. We need to take better action. That's what's also discussed at TVIC. You've got to remember, there was another tribe that was federally recognized. So that adds to the pot. That doesn't increase the funding, it's gonna take funds away from the pot that's already there, from my understanding. So it's gonna decrease some programs here, or maybe eliminate. That's the part, that was the fight that was going on when that tribe got federally recognized. And I guess, and it kind of affected us because it used our Wounded Knee bill as leverage. It became a political gain or game where they used us as leverage. That's why our Wounded Knee bill was passed by Congress all the way to the top unanimously. But it just sat there because of one senator refused to sign it and pass it. And that's all it takes is one vote until we agreed to help this state, I guess. But anyway, that was that fight, and it got passed, and well, you know, voila! All of a sudden, our bill passes. So those are the kind of games that they play at a higher level, and they utilize us tribes as a pawn, and that's the kind of things that we need to fight for and realize what really happens at that level. But yeah, the funding is years in advance, I think 2 years. So what we're fighting now, our law enforcement, in last administration, we probably see a little tiny increase. Well, that's to pick up some of the, I think some of the efforts they did in Cherokee Nation to supplement them. I know Congressman Johnson was saying, oh yeah, there's a 30% increase, but it doesn't mean nothing to large tribes. You know, it's just pennies to us. So that's why we go to TBEC and try to do those things. And we try to lobby. I always fight for large, federally recognized large land-based treaty tribes. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm real intrigued by TBEC and the formulas used by the government to provide funding to the tribes. And I'm just gonna say I, I'm not gonna say we, because I think I need to promote myself in that area rather than being here making token resolutions to get rid of a superintendent who has no more say-so over what happens on a bigger level. That's where the fight is. As a legislator, I think I need to be in Washington. I need to be speaking to the people that matter for our tribe. Whether it goes over or not, that's the effort I need to put forth. The local level can be handled, as it always has been. But now is a crucial time that I need to be in Washington and learning as much as I can, the indoors and the outdoors, and who I need to visit with, who I need to talk to. So I apologize if there were any harsh feelings over the resolution I brought forward, but when your back's in a corner, you got to blame somebody. You've got to blame somebody. And Sonia's got too much blame on her shoulders right now, so we got to quit there. But anyway, that's where I think I need to be, rather than here. Thank you.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. We need support.
Thank you, President. Good morning, Council, and our executive board, and also our guests on Zoom and in the audience. You know, that's a very, very strong statement there that Mr. Councilman Standing Soldier made. And I think a lot of us, when we come on council, the first year is always the learning part of things. You sit there and you watch the rest of us as we make motions and second, and we talk about different things. Second year comes around and we got our feet wet. So boy, we want to get something done. That's how it's been. You know, I think I've learned that way too. But I just want to say that that's very true. You know, we need to do that. And we always said, and people always said to us, because the Oglala Sioux tribe is not at the table. That's why you guys were left out. So we make every effort, I think, to get to DC. And we've made trips to Aberdeen. But we did that throughout the years that we've been on council. The fight is over there, not here. But we tend to do that a lot here in this circle. And we fight against our own people. So, you know, we don't want to go there today. I want to get back on track, President, and get this report done from BIA. But I think we have, you know, next, I think second week in February, we are going to go to DC because we believe that we have to advocate on behalf of some of our programs. We had Badlands bombing range that came through Land Committee. We had the diabetes program. So we're going to come through and we're going to do some of the work that we need to do. So any council representative is welcome to come with us, you know, and that's something that is being set up by Jennifer Hughes. And so we are working on that, and we're going to get things going. So we're going to meet with our delegation. So I think that's something that we'd like to do too. So just sharing that, but if we could finish up with this report from the BIA.
Okay, we got one more question, then we'll let her finish. Go ahead, Dave.
I just have one question for Tina or Tony. When you mentioned burial, is burial fine now with dollars in their line item?
So.
The reason I'm asking, you know, because if they sent 380,000 back, we can't pass a resolution to tell people to stop dying. So, but I want to know, because if that line item zeroes out, then are we going to be able to take those contract dollars to reimburse that line item? Because sometimes that's not allowable. So I just want to know that for sure, you know, because now we have to be careful of what happens to that line item.
So I would be able to say yes or no if I received the 425 report for that program to see where they are financially. However, I want to say this, I commend all the people who've been working on the reporting because they're working very hard. They're going and trying to get everything caught up. They're submitting things. I know it takes time. It's years that they fell behind. It's going to take some time to get caught up. But in regards to this correction with burial assistance, as soon as they can get that Fed wire transferred to ASAP, then we can go ahead within the same week and give them $380,000 for their programming, and they will receive their CR1 funds, and they will receive their contract support dollars. So all of those funds will be made available to that program as soon as we get that $380,000 sent back.
I just don't want it to be a audit finding or some kind of problem with what happens in the system. So that's why I wanted to get it clear here for the record.
We sent the money back, and it's in the, it was in the bank account at this point. First National sent it, Cora provided a confirmation, and then we gave another one to Steph with the amount and where we sent it. And that was in November. If it was a week, I missed that week because next week will be in February.
Well, see, that's what I want. I don't want it to become a problem for the programs. That's what I'm after, regardless of when it's sent. It's because there could be a problem.
Sorry, go ahead.
You know, the way it was explained by Tina, you know, that there's a process that has to be followed in order for that to go back into ASAP. And from what I'm hearing from Tony is the bank, our First National Bank, doesn't allow that. So we need to bring in, I think we need to bring in First National Bank to our finance meeting tomorrow. So with that, you know, I'm going to make a motion to do that, to get this settled, because they need to know what is happening, why that money can't be sent back. We need to hear from them why they can't do it.
Okay.
So that's my motion, to get them here. Tomorrow's finance. No,
First National.
it has to be sent back a certain way. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, and Steph Star comes out, just ran to grab her confirmation, because she's come up a couple times, and we provided it where it was received at the account for BIA. Our First National Bank is not compatible with ASAP, so we had to do a wire. Wait, if anyone has questions on that, because I've repeated at numerous meetings, numerous times, First National is standalone, and Steph went to get the paperwork that says the confirmation that we that we sent it, and it was received.
Well, that's my motion.
Okay, so you got a
So we need
motion
to
by,
get them here. We need to hear from the bank.
okay, so we got a motion by Councilwoman Sears, second. Or you want to wait and do, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
How often does that happen? Does it happen once in every 5 years or once a year? Or how often?
So this, believe me, I even called Navajo Nation to try to seek guidance on how this gets returned so that we can move forward and expedite this process. Navajo Nation told me this is a common practice. It's not, it's a common mistake. It happens, you know. There's limited staff, and a lot of work that happens behind the scenes. And so she said this happens, and it takes the bank either to put it in back into ASAP through what they call an ACH transfer, and this is where somebody internally can do that. They did attempt that. You only get one attempt at doing that, okay? It didn't happen because it's not in ASAP's account. We do not have it. We can check. We verified. I even called ASAP to verify. ASAP said, no, it's not in there, okay? Then this is where ASAP said, the tribe has to call, get the instructions, go to the bank will do a Fed wire to ASAP. That's the process. There's no other way around it. This is what the two options are for this to happen. It's happened with OST in the past. I don't know why, maybe just because of the changeover and so forth, but this has happened before. It's not something new, okay?
Okay, there was only one other time, and I'll share that with you. It happened, the very first threat of government shutdown, Cora said, check all your accounts, anything that you have, draw it down so we're ahead, we have cash if government shuts down. Well, we took some money, it was a lot of money, and you can't just write a check for that amount. So I reached out to the funding agency, they gave me direction, and the easiest way to do it was a check. But it was so large, they literally, the Federal Reserve had to go to Congress and get approval for First National to do that wire that's being explained. So I 100% agree with Tina, what she's saying. If you pull the help and you print the instructions, what she's saying is what I would read. But the bank can't do that. So we did the wire, and the wire was received, or the money was received at that account, and we no longer can have access to that as the tribe, because if I sent you this money, Troy, let me use you, I send it to you, I can't go back and take it out of your account, even though I sent it to you. It belongs to you once it's there. Oh, but I do want to make one comment. I think that would have saved time, energy, and helped the tribe was that it was not our mistake, and it doesn't matter, no pointing fingers. But at BIA's level, they could have done a journal entry, they could have documented it somehow, because if this is only the second time the tribe happened, it might happen at other tribes. It's not common for it here. So they could have did an entry at their level or moved the money from that account to that account, and we would have just alleviated all of this.
You can't just transfer federal funds around. So that's why, once it went to the tribe, like she just mentioned.
Can we use the mic?
Oh, sorry. So you cannot just transfer federal funds around, and you can't just do an accounting line correction as well. Once these funds were transferred to the tribe should have went ahead and said, okay, we're going to return it and verify that it was returned into ASAP through the process that's made available in ASAP, which is called an ACH transfer. So there is the process already developed within the ASA system for the tribe. And if it wasn't as common, they wouldn't have developed it. So my point is we're still trying to work together to resolve this issue, and believe me, I'm trying to do everything to assist the tribe in making this as painless as possible to get the funds returned so that we could better support the program in getting their funding. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You know, I do want to say that in what I'm understanding here is that I don't, and what Councilman Puyer is saying, you know, about the burial program, this could hurt the burial program.
because they just told us that they cannot release funds until this 380,000 is sent back to BIA. So it has to be done. And I think that tomorrow is Finance Committee. And I think running this motion, Mr. Chair, is just to get the bank. I don't know if it's, if they can do it or not. We need to hear from the bank. You know, like they told us yesterday, we're the largest bank holder, our account holder there at the First National Bank. And so they need to start listening to us. You know, so, you know, Councilman Sears, woman made the motion to bring them tomorrow, I think at the Finance Committee. I think we just need to get it
Yeah.
clarified with them.
Yeah, so we got a second on that. So, Secretary, roll call?
And just for clarification, who do you want to contact them? Do you want the treasurer's office or do you want the president?
I think the president's office.
Should send them?
Yeah.
Okay.
And who we contacted, the president himself here?
Yes, I think, yeah. I
Okay.
think the Will or somebody needs to be here.
So just for clarification for the record, motion by Jackie Sears, seconded by Sonia Little Hawk Weston to have the First National Bank present at the Finance Committee meeting tomorrow, January 29, 25, and to have the President's office notify them.
And I think we should include regarding the federal wire, is that what it's called? The Fed wire transfer.
Okay, regarding the Fred wire transfer. Okay. Okay. Richard Greenwald Senior?
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear?
Yes.
Lyle Weston?
Yes.
Jackie Sears?
Uh-huh.
Jeremy Rosales?
Yes.
Bo Little White Man? Sonia Little Hawk Weston?
Huh?
Blaine Little Thunder?
Yes.
Troy Little?
Yes.
Garfield Still? David Kelly? George Dreamer Jr.?
Yes. Yes.
Anna Halverson?
Yes.
Beef Randall? Norman Standing Soldier?
Yes.
David Poyer?
Yes.
Fourteen yes, 2 not voting, motion carried.
Greetings, President Star Comes Out, Secretary Tulance, and Tribal Council. My name is Gina Duville, and I am the Superintendent for the Pine Ridge Agency. I've provided you with our monthly report, and I will just highlight a few items and then open it up for questions. So as of January 26, 2026, we have collected $6,492,446.03 from the permittees. The remaining balance is $1,453.86 that we're working to collect on. I'd like to highlight the agricultural leasing. A bid opening was held on December 22nd, 2025, with approximately 25 people in attendance. The Indian preference bids closed on January 2nd, 2026. The high bid was above the minimum rates, which were bid by enrolled members and resulted in an oral auction on January 16th, 2026 for 13 enrolled members. The oral bid had a good outcome, with some allotments doubling and some cases tripling the high bid. For example, one allotment ended up going for $35 an acre for pasture land. The farm ground ranged from $50 to $72 an acre after the oral bid auction. And I attached a copy of the minimum rates that are currently in effect. And the reason I attached that, it's the second from the last document. It came to my attention that the last time that these were updated, it may have been in 2007, but it's called the Allotted and Tribal Lands Minimum Rates per Acre, and it says August 20th, or 2014. And so what I was proposing is that we, the agency contract a market study on agricultural land values and cash rents within Oglala, Lakota, Jackson, and Bennett County, South Dakota. And also attached is, or something that I just handed out this morning. It's an article, I guess, and it's the South Dakota Agricultural Land Market Trends from 1991 to 2025. And on top of that, I attached a kind of like a cheat sheet, which is some numbers on it that, you know, when you have time to look through it, that kind of will assist you in that report. But we're proposing to contract for a market study. And we're going to ask that the study compile data on land values and rental rates for various agricultural uses across southwestern South Dakota. The information will be gathered through interviews with farm and ranch operators regarding current market rents. This is not an appraisal, but a data compilation intended to provide value and rent changes or ranges for agricultural lands within the Oglala Sioux Oyate Reservation. And so the analysis will offer an indication of land and rental types or values by property type. And I just wanted to bring that proposed market study to the attention of the entire tribal council.
I have a question. Go ahead.
Chair, I thought Diane Manclair came and did that last year, or 2 years ago.
That was for grazing permits.
Right, and then they had somebody from Martin do the other because it was all brought to land committee, last administration. And the recommendation that everything stayed the same, that's what we got. So what'd you say, 2014?
There hasn't been any updates on the allotted and tribal lands minimum rates. It looks like there was an appraisal that may have been sent where it says Oasis at the bottom. I think the appraisal may have been sent to Oasis in 2007.
Because I think there even should be a council resolution to that effect where we accepted those rates at that time.
But this
Thank
could be, I've had some inquiries, and this could be a way, you know, of raising the rates for our landowners.
Councilwoman Spotted Bear.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. DeVille, in bringing this map because it's really intriguing how all the areas highlighted away from reservations are at a higher rate, almost doubled compared to near reservations areas. And I really think this is something that I've been talking about, and how we bring that discussion to the table, and this may be a start. My only concern is the rates that we would be discussing raising would be also to our local, our enrolled members as well, but that's also a benefit to them because it recycles or returns that funding. And I'd like to go into further detail with this, maybe in land committee, but I really appreciate you bringing this forth. It's just, it goes to say what we've been saying and how our lands are being used and taken advantage of in some cases, when our people should be benefiting from what they're being used for. Thank you.
One more question over here. Go ahead, Councilwoman Little Hawk Western.
Thank you, President. You know, if I recall, I think it might have been back in 2000, and I was just asking my colleague here, when we approved the rates, I think they might have been the grazing, I don't know if it was the farm pasture leases, the rates at that time. But, you know, I really think that this really helps us to look at the overall, you know, how this is broken down, because every time it comes to our own tribe, you know, as a landowner, you know, I was kind of pushed to make sure that our overall landowners are benefiting. But we're always going to get a pushback when it comes to the rates, because we have our own tribal ranchers that don't want an increase in their rates. And they feel the non-Indian ranchers should pay a lot more than them. I hate to say it that way, but that's the way it's been going. And so, you know, I think that a lot of times our own people that are landowners are coming to us and saying, why is it that you guys, they don't want that? You know, so sometimes the land committee, we're pushing for, when they send the Dear Tribal Leader letters out, we better start paying attention to those, because they tell us that this is the increase that we're going with, and if we don't pay attention to it, and it comes to the council, and the last time we remember, it was really a fight on this, in this circle, but it was passed. And so as land committee member, and I think some of us are on land committee, you know, we better make sure we're looking at those. Even the president gets it. So those Dear Tribal Leader letters go out, they need to come to the tribal council right away. And I think that it's also emailed out to us too. So I know BIA has been sending these out, but I think that, you know, as a landowner, and I think a lot of us in this circle, some may be landowners, but our people ask us that too. So I think this kind of really helps us to look at that. And I think what Councilwoman Spotted Bear is saying is, I think it should be addressing this. We also have a working session that Councilman Puyer set up in February 17th and 18th to look at Major giving us an overview of Tribal 101, you know, Land 101, you know, it's going to give us an overview of our tribal land. I think a lot of things, I think it's really important that we're there to really see what's happening with our land, because overall, it is the people's right to speak on behalf of our tribal lands too. So I think we need to always make sure we can do that. But I just want to thank Superintendent for bringing this forward to us so we could take time to review it. Thank you.
Yeah, one more question. Go ahead, Councilman Puyer.
I just want to make something clear. When we set the rates, we're only setting it on tribal ground. The Bureau sets the rates for allotted tracts. So I just want to get that clear, because I think there's a misunderstanding. So that's, when they send out those, what do you call them, authorities? or something like that, the BIA?
The 90-day notice?
No, the authorities, what they want for their,
Oh, yes.
yeah, their ground. So when the tribe passes a resolution, it's for tribal ground only, not for the allotted tracts.
Have to disagree with that. They do send us a Dear Tribal Leader letter on even that. Not only on tribal ground, but even farm pasture, letting us know this is the rate we're gonna go up to. So they do send us that. But sometimes, and I hate to say that, in this circle, we fight against it. We don't wanna increase that rate. But the people are saying those are, you know, this is our land. These are the landowners speaking. Yep, so that's why I'm saying that, you know, when it comes to us, you know, from the BIA, from the, when they send these Dear Tribal Leader letters out, we need to pay attention to it and read it, because that's what they're telling us. So it's not just tribal ground. I understand what Councilman Puyer's saying, but it's not just tribal ground. We'll get one on tribal ground, but we're gonna also get one on farm pasture too.
Go ahead.
Okay, and then so next, just to let you know that December and January general assistance payments have been paid, and they're working on February right now. On January 21st, 2026, I sent a text to all tribal council. I wanted to share that the outstanding administrative fees for 2019 to 2021 have been recovered and paid to the tribe. These fees dated back to Mr. John Long's tenure as superintendent. The administrative fees are commonly referred to as execution fees by Councilman Puyer. So, but I did have some questions on what exactly were administrative fees. So I've also provided you with a packet on the top is the National Policy Memorandum. Getting my papers all mixed up.
I have a question here. Go ahead, Councilman Puyer.
I want to go back to the range units. How many range units are not paid for?
Actually, they're paid, they're all paid. We just have, what's outstanding is the fees. There are 3 individuals that didn't pay the fees.
What do you mean?
So it's $1,400 that we're trying to collect, like $1,500.
So they didn't put that in at their lease payment? Is that what you're saying?
Sometimes that's the way it happens. They'll just pay the permit and not include the fees.
Really? Huh? Well, that's not a complete payment then.
Right.
How are they getting a contract without making a complete payment?
Sometimes those are auto-matched at the lockbox where their payments are sent into. And, you know, with our research, we found out that those three outstanding payments is the fees that they did not send in with their checks.
I guess my last question is, and that's going through, I didn't go through all your report here, but how many outstanding probates do we have? How far is that backed up?
That's also attached. It's on the back page. Or
I just want to, so that people can hear that out there, because people ask me every once in a while, when are we going to have a probate? When are we going to have a probate? I mean, I can't. They think the tribe has something to do it, but that's a BIA responsibility.
so even though we do have, we're waiting to hopefully get that national team here, but in the meantime, we do have other agencies that are assisting the Pine Ridge Agency with probates. And there's a document in there saying that we submitted 19 to the Office of Hearings and Appeals for the month of January. But that still puts us at 1,349 that are still in case prep, which means that they're still collecting information on them before they send them to the Office of Hearings and Appeals.
So there's probably not even putting a dent in it, because we're burying more of our tribal members than, I mean, we're going through a lot of funerals, a lot of deaths through the year, I guess, put it that way. Thank you.
So attached to the national policy memorandum, and I know it says it expired in March of 2025. I did a research of our national policy memorandums, and this is the most recent one. They haven't done, completed one for 2026 yet, but attached to that is, sorry, I have too many papers up here. Okay, so the administrative fees are charges for services like issuing permits, processing leases, and managing records. These fees help us recover the cost of delivering these services. So, and there are two legal authorities that work in tandem with this policy. There's 25 USC Section 413. That section allows us to collect reasonable fees for services. The statute gives the Secretary of the Interior discretion to collect fees for services provided to tribes or individuals. It says these fees can be paid directly or deducted from proceeds. And the second statute that works in tandem with that is 25 USC Section 14B, which permits us to retain those fees. So this statute that allows us to retain those fees was enacted in 1990. It allows the BIA to retain fees for the public goods and services. And I guess that's probably all I have, because I just wanted to provide, based on my text message that I sent out to Tribal Council, I wanted to provide them with the policy and the laws that apply to administrative fees.
Go ahead, Councilwoman Spotterbear.
Thank you. I just had a question regarding the grazing permits and proposed to renew information collection. Is there any update on that? I know comments were due last week. Has there been any update to that?
I've got whispering in the background.
Is there any update to the proposal to renew an information collection for grazing permits? There was comments due last week. I was just not sure if there was any update to it, or if there was a letter to the president that we should be aware of.
They already worked on the grazing permits, the grazing rate change.
I'm not sure what.
I think if you look at your emails, I think Jennifer might have sent something to us on that. Right. But I do think she was asking, do you want me to make comments on this? So again, that's not only sent to President, but to the council. So we should be on top of it. So again, as Tribal Land Committee, we should be on top of that too. Yeah, it's been emailed to all of us.
Right, and thank you. And I make sure to read these emails thoroughly, because we don't want to miss anything like what's happened in the past.
Okay, so, and then as far as the government shutdown, I'm sure you've heard that the president signed something called a minibus bill. And so I've attached the House Rule 6983 fact sheet. It looks like there is possibility of an increase in law enforcement funding as well. The leads are still reviewing the breakdown, and leadership remains on standby for more specifics, because we're still going to go into shutdown if they haven't passed the remaining 12 bills. So I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Go ahead, Councilman Porter.
So if the shutdown is, is anybody gonna be over there, or just you, or the janitor, or who?
So how it works is, I will be there for sure, and then, so I'm accepted. And so then we've got other people that are accepted on call. One of those individuals would be Sean Patton, Valentina Merdanian, Sherry Coombs, and Vincent Martin. So, yeah, there will be people available.
So what about GA?
Oh, yes, they're accepted. They're like I am. They have to report.
I just read, so that won't affect any of the clients, I'll put it that way.
Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay, got motion.
Motion approved.
Okay, motion by Councilman Greenwald, second by Councilwoman Spotted Bear. Roll call.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Jackie Sears, Jeremy Rosales,
Yes.
Bo Little White Man, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Garfield Still, David Kelly, George Streamer Jr.,
Yes.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
David Poyer.
Chair, next land meeting will be in a couple of weeks, but, so I'd like, is Sean, if you're not shut down, I guess, Sean there and somebody from Realty, because have some of the stuff need answered in the report.
Yes.
Okay. All right, 14 yes, 2 not voting, motion carried. Thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you.
Also, Chief will be here in about an hour to give his report. Chief, please. Hang on, we're going to check on lunch.
Chair.
Yeah, go
Hey,
ahead.
we got this document from Tony Motlow, and it has account number, routing number and stuff. You guys, do they want to pick these back up or what? I already read mine.
Probably should. Don't leave them laying around.
Chair, I was thinking just give it to the finance secretary for tomorrow's meeting, because we're gonna meet.
Good catch.
fun having pulled pork, man. I'm tired of pulled pork.
Go give these to Lynn.
Pulled pork again.
Lynn,
Pulled pork again.
Yep, they're off.
All the golf tournaments, all the meetings, all pulled pork. Sick of pulled pork. Can I get a sirloin steak? Baked potato and salad. Where's that dude? You should have moved your manure.
You got a contingency fund, 928,000. Did that not go for your gym? Or are you saving that for furniture and everything?
I really don't know what the plan is for that.
Okay, we're going to move on to our next agenda item while we're waiting for lunch.
And the chief of police will be here now.
And the chief will be here within an hour, I believe. Okay, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the Law and Order Committee Chair.
Thank you, Chair. So we have 4 remaining items. First one, the motion was made by Garfield Steele, seconded by Jeremy Rosales to 2/3 onto Tribal Council, January 27, 2026. Well, now it's January 28th, to reconsider the Tribal Council action made on December 30th, 2025 on the hiring of the OST Chief of Police and to advertise the OST Chief of Police's position and follow the interview process. So I think this one here was to rescind that action. So I'll make that motion to rescind that action to have this position advertised and go through the due process of interview.
Okay, so we got a motion by Councilman Weston,
Second.
second by Councilwoman Halverson. Roll call.
Mr. Weston, just for the record, the action you're pertaining to was on December 30th, 2025, and it was motion number 25-469. Motion by Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior, seconded by Garfield Steele to appoint Ivor Crow Eagle as Chief of Police.
Correct.
The motion was carried 10 yes, 3 no, and 3 not voting. And so I'll put that as part of the record.
Okay, thank you.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
No.
Julian Spotted Bear, Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Jeremy Rosales,
Yes.
Bo Little White Man. No. Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Garfield Steele,
Not voting, I didn't hear the motion.
It was a motion to rescind tribal council action on December 31st.
Okay, yeah.
David Kelly,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
David Poyer.
Twelve yes, 3 no, 1 not voting, motion carried.
So item number 3, ordinance of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe prohibiting the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE officers, and the United States Border Patrol from entering the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Skipping down to the fourth whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe consists of the Oglala Band of the Great Sioux Nation and has an inherent sovereignty and authority over its territories. Whereas the Oglala Sioux tribal laws require government to government consultation, where any actions by the federal government will adversely affect the tribe's abortional treaty or statutorial recognized rights and interests within its aboriginal and treaty recognized territories, OST Ordinance Number 11-10. And whereas the Immigration and Customs Enforcement is assisted by the U.S. Border Patrol in conducting unlawful acts against Native people in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which lies within the Aboriginal territory of the Great Sioux Nation. And whereas the egregious conduct of the current Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers and Border Patrol throughout the United States that particularly targets minorities have resulted in illegal detainment and injury of members of federally recognized tribes in violation of treaties and civil rights under the U.S. Constitution. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe does not recognize the authority of the Immigration and Customs law enforcement and U.S. Border Patrol on its tribal lands without consultation and an agreement with the tribe approved unanimously by all of the duly elected members of the tribal council. And whereas to maintain its inherent sovereignty and protect the safety and general welfare of our tribal members, the Oglala Sioux Tribe will not allow any ICE officer or U.S. Border Patrol within the tribal lands, nor there any intent to enter into any agreement. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe has agreements in place with the Bureau of Indian Affairs Office of Justice Services, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, and the U.S. Marshals to address crime that is committed within tribal lands. There is no need for the Immigration and Customs Enforcement or U.S. Border Patrol to enter into tribal lands. And whereas the Tribal Council took action on January 21, 2026 to prohibit ICE and now includes the U.S. Border Patrol from entering into tribal lands and move to draft an ordinance to effectuate the action. Now therefore be it ordained that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby prohibit the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, officers and U.S. Border Patrol from entering the Pine Ridge Reservation. Be it further ordained that this ordinance shall take effect immediately and shall supersede, repeal, and replace all prior inconsistent laws of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. Certification. Motion.
Motion by Councilman Weston, second by Councilman Little. Roll call.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear, Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Jackie Sears, Jeremy Rosales,
Yes.
Bo Little White Man, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Garfield Stale, David Kelly,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Beef Randall, Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
David Poyer,
14 yes, 2 not voting, motion carried.
Item number 4, Garfield Still declination to the Secretarial Election Board. And his statement and resignation is in the packet there. So I don't know. Do we need
You need a motion to take them off?
just a motion? Okay, I'll motion that. Motion to
Motion
accept.
to accept, okay. Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Weston, a second by Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston. I thought he was gonna lead the charge. Roll call, Secretary.
Richard Greenwald Sr.,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear, Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Jackie Sears, Jeremy Rosales,
Yes.
Bo Little White Man, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Garfield Still, David Kelly,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Anna Halverson,
No.
Beef Randall, Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes.
David Poyer.
13 yes, 1 no, 2 not voting, motion carried.
Chair, for item number 5, I'm going to motion to go into executive for this item for discussion.
Okay. Is it gonna take, do you think it'll take long? We can, lunch is here, is setting up, I believe. Oh, they're ready? What's that?
And then we can
Okay,
discuss this.
all right, we'll break for lunch and then we'll resume at 1 o'clock. Is that plenty of time? Okay. We'll resume at 1.
Yes.
$16 unanimous, motion carried.
And that's all we had from 2/3 items from Law and Order.
Okay, well, thank you, Chair. We'll move on to our next agenda item, Land Committee.
Chairman, I asked that the secretary read the ordinance.
Okay,
I left my bifocals in the vehicle.
Okay. Ordinance of the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe to amend ordinance number 22-40 concerning the leasing of tribal land to individuals convicted of livestock theft, and to rename the ordinance the Seymour Young Dog Law. Sovereignty Clause, Section 16 Clause, Section 4 Clause. Whereas in the exercise of these powers, the Tribal Council enacted ordinance number 2-40 on June 1st, 2022, to prohibit Charles Butch Devan from leasing tribal lands on the Pioneer Indian Reservation based upon his conviction and imprisonment for possession of cattle that did not belong to him. And whereas ordinance number 22-40 provides that no individual or entity may enter into an agreement, either oral or written, to pasture on the reservation any cattle belonging to Charles Butch Diven or his extended family. And whereas ordinance number 22-40 defines the term extended family to mean wife, children, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, nephews, nieces, parents, and step, half, and in-laws in same degree included. And whereas on January 26, 2026, the Land Committee approved a motion to recommend amending ordinance number 2240 to provide that the ordinance applies to Charles Butch Diven and other persons convicted of livestock theft, and to provide that the term extended family includes grandparents and grandchildren, and further to rename the law the Seymour Young Dog Law. And whereas having considered the matter, the Tribal Council has determined that the recommendation of the Land and Natural Resources Committee is in the best interest of the tribe and its members. Now therefore be it ordained that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council hereby amends ordinance number 22-40 enacted on June 1st, 2022, in the matter set forth below, to provide that the ordinance applies to Charles Butch Diven and other persons convicted of livestock theft, and to provide that the term extended family includes grandparents and grandchildren, and further to rename the law Seymour Young Dog Law. And be it further ordained that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council hereby declares that Charles Butch Diven and any other person convicted of livestock theft and the extended family of Charles Butch Diven and any other persons convicted of livestock theft are strictly forbidden from leasing tribal land upon the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And be it further ordained that no individual or entity shall enter into an agreement, either oral or written, to pasture upon the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation the livestock of Charles Butch Diven and any other person convicted of livestock theft, or the livestock of the extended family of Charles Butch Diven, or any other persons convicted of livestock theft. And be it further ordained that as used in this ordinance, the term extended family shall mean spouse, children, siblings, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, parents, grandparents, grandchildren, and step, half, and in-laws of the same degree. And be it further ordained that any and all livestock owned by Charles Butch Diven or any other persons convicted of livestock theft, or the extended family of Charles Butch Diven or any other persons convicted of livestock theft that are found within the exterior boundaries of the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation pursuant to any pasturing agreement in violation of this ordinance shall be subject to impound, care, and removal from the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And be it further ordained that any person who has a lease with the Oglala Sioux Tribe and who violates this ordinance shall have their lease terminated and shall be prohibited from entering into a land lease for 10 years. And be it further ordained that the Bureau of Indian Affairs is mandated to comply with this ordinance as amended. And be it further ordained that the ordinance as amended shall be known as the Seymour Young Dog Law. And be it further ordained that these amendments shall take effect immediately. Certification.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Standing Soldier, second by Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston. Roll call.
Richard Greenwell Sr.,
Yes.
Julian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Donroy Ghost Bear,
Yes.
Jeremy Rosales, Bo Little White Man, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Garfield Still, David Kelly,
Yes.
George Jamer Jr.,
Yes.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Yep.
Norman Standing Soldier.
Yes.
15 yes, 1 not voting, motion carried. That it? Okay. Thank you, Chair. Moving on to our next agenda item, we'll turn it over to HHS Committee. Any representation? Okay.
Thank you, President. Give me a moment. HHS has two-thirds items. I'll read the first one. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and Unincorporated Tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council approving the contract with Badlands Enterprises for construction of the reservation-wide lagoon fencing repair on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe is a sovereign tribal nation that has entered into treaties as the supreme law of the land with the United States government pursuant to the U.S. Constitution under Article 6, and is a signatory to the Treaty of Fort Laramie of 1851, 1 Stat 749, September 17, 1851, and the Treaty of Fort Laramie of 1868, 15 Stat 635, April 29, 1868. And continues the nation-to-nation relationship with the federal government. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe organized under Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, 25 U.S.C. subsection 5123, by adopting a federally approved constitution and bylaws, and under Article 3 of the Tribal Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the tribe. And whereas Article 4, Sections 1F, 1K, 1M, and 1W empower the Tribal Council to manage the economic affairs of the tribe, protect and preserve the property of the tribe, adopt laws governing the conduct of persons on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, and adopt laws protecting and promoting the health and general welfare of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and its membership. Excuse me. And whereas, under the terms of a memorandum of agreement between the tribe and the Indian Health Service, bids were sought for construction of the Pine Ridge Sewer Lift Station Emergency Force Main Replacement on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And whereas, in the bid letting and evaluation conducted under the MOA and involving the Tribal Water and Sewer Program and the Indian Health Service, 6 bids were received with a low apparent bid submitted by Badlands Enterprises. And whereas on the 20th day of January 2026, the Health and Human Resources Office Committee of the Tribal Council met and voted to forward the final approval of the contract with Badlands Enterprise on the full Tribal Council. And whereas the Tribal Council has considered the matter and determined that it is in the best interest of the tribe and its members to approve the contract with Badlands Enterprises for the construction of the reservation-wide lagoon fencing repair. Now therefore be it resolved that the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe does hereby approve the contract with Badlands Enterprises for the construction of reservation-wide lagoon fencing repair in the amount of $170,058. And be it further resolved that the Tribal Council understands that in the event Badlands Enterprises does not obtain adequate bonding as required by the project within 10 days of the receipt of notice of this approval, the project will be rebid. And be it further resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal President, or in his absence, the Vice President, is hereby authorized to sign any documents necessary to execute this contract. Certification motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Spotted Bear. Second by Councilman Standing Soldier. Roll call.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Donroy Gosper,
Yes.
Jeremy Rosales, Bo Little White Man,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Blaine Little Thunder,
Good.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Garfield Steele, David Kelly,
Yes.
George Jimmer Jr.,
Yes.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Yep.
Norman Standing Soldier,
Yes. Yes.
15 yes, one not voting, motion carried.
Thank you. Our second and final item, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and Unincorporated Tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving O'Rourke Badlands Enterprises LLC contract change order number 2 to add work for the construction of the Pine Ridge Lift Station main and emergency replacement contract. PR 2024-CS-1, and I'll skip down to the fourth whereas. Whereas the Health and Human Services Committee, HHS Committee, is a standing committee of the Tribal Council that oversees the Indian Health Service, IHS Martin, sanitation facilities, construction contracts. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Water and Sewer Company requires the approval of a change order and contract modification to add additional work to contract PR 2024-CS-1 between the Oglala Sioux Tribe and O'Rourke Badlands Enterprises LLC. And whereas on January 20th, 2026, the Oglala Sioux Tribe Health and Human Services Committee met during regular session and approved the change order to add work to the contract. Change order number 2 will increase contract PR 2024-CS-1 by a total of $12,238.55 from $479,750 to $491,988.55. No additional time is requested now. Therefore, be it resolved that the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe has voted to approve the contract change order for O'Rourke Badlands Enterprises, LLC, to add work to the Pine Ridge Lift Station Force Main and Emergency Replacement Contract, PR 2024-CS-1, and increase the contract total by $12,238.55 from $479,750 to $491,988.55. And be it further resolved, the Tribal President, or in his absence, the Vice President, is hereby authorized to sign any documents necessary to execute contract change order number 2, certification. Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Spotted Bear. Second by Councilman Standing Soldier. Roll call.
Richard Greenwald Senior,
Yes.
Julian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Lyle Weston,
Yes.
Jackie Sears, Don Gosper,
Yes.
Jeremy Rosales, Bo Little White Man, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Blaine Little Thunder,
Yes.
Troy Little,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Yes.
David Kelly,
Yes.
George Jimmer Jr.,
Yes.
Anna Halverson,
Yes.
Beef Randall,
Yep.
Norman Standing Soldier.
Yes.
Fifteen yes, one not voting, motion carried.
Thank you, President. That is all HHS has for 2/3.
Okay, thank you. Well,
I think we still have that Wounded Knee.
yeah, we still have one more issue left.
We're actually meeting with our project manager, so I'll hold off on that until the next council meeting.
Okay. The chief is on his way. I don't know if you want to wait for him or adjourn. It's up to you. Okay, who's motion? Motion by Beef? Second by Councilwoman Little Hawk Weston? Go ahead.
You know, some meetings back, and I don't know, I can never get out of land committee, but Council, we need to look at our allocation committee and address this issue. I think it's unfair to a lot of our young relatives who are trying to, do something for their families, their young families, but man, to me, there's just so much with the allocation committee that, there's a lot of favoritism going on and a lot of people are being overlooked, and we're not getting top dollar for our range units because they're going with the buddy system. And I'm going to say it, and I'm kind of fed up with it. We really need to reevaluate this whole system and do what's right and fair for our people, instead of allowing this allocation committee to continue to, do whatever they want and support each other, their families, and getting our range units. I addressed this at the council meeting before, and it never been addressed in land committee. Even when I talk there, it just goes nowhere. But I wanted to say that for the record. We need to really look into that.
Go ahead. Councilman Kelly, then Councilman Gosper.
If I may add to Mr. Steele's conversation, I understand what's going on also. What's really disheartening is we continuously pool our own tribal range units from the Bureau. And then when they come before the land committee, we're getting less and less dollar. And that's an issue in my eyes, and I have actually brought it up because our most valuable asset here on this reservation is our land. Actually, it's the grass. And we're losing out every time we pull a range unit out to accommodate one of the local ranchers, and I just had to say that. Thank you.
Councilman Gosper.
Thank you, Chair. I brought this up quite a few times on land committee, and my biggest issue with it is that our young people, they'll never have a chance to be ranchers because it's so competitive, and it's all these big families are eating up these range units and the buddy system within the allocation committee, because I used to be on there and I trying to fight against it, but it's hard when you only one vote. So I think, sometime this next couple of weeks we need to sit down and land and really hash this out. I think there needs to be no interest at all. If they're sent on the allocation committee, they should have no interest at all. Family, brother, friend, because it's sickening now. So thank you for bringing that up, Garth. I mean, it's an issue that does need to be taken care of. But Chair, even through your office too, Chair, you could help us out too, Frank.
Yep.
So I think that, and another thing I want to touch on too is that our ag leases, we really need to take a look at farming our own land, you guys, and ranching it. So, but we'll save that for committee action. So, but thank you.
Yeah. Councilman Randall. Can you use your mic? Use your mic so the listening audience can hear you.
Bring these up when we're having our land meeting, 17th and 18th, I think it is, and make sure there's some action in it, so.
Okay. Councilman Weston?
Thank you, Chair. That's one of the reasons why I tabled the resolutions that came in, and I want to bring it back to my district for discussion. So we're in the process of setting up a town hall meeting, setting up flyers, advertising it, and bringing up all these issues, because in our district, we have a lot of landowners. I'm pretty sure it's the same in every district. So these issues you guys are talking about, we'll get the consensus of the people, find out what they want us to do. But that's the reason why I tabled those, and to take it back so we can come back here next month and bring it forward, what their consensus is, because I'm a landowner too, so this involves almost everybody, So that's my comment. Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, can I make a motion?
Okay, hang on. Go ahead. Well, we
Yeah,
have
I just
a
want to
motion on the
piggyback
floor.
off everybody on that.
It's been going on for years. Like I said one time, I've been corralled up from the east side and then from the west side from the little ranch where we couldn't expand because of the bigger ranchers. I like the idea of farming our own land. And I know it's in the process now. It did take a step in that direction, and I'm all for it. And Garth, thanks for bringing that up. And you have brought it to the land committee a few times, and it got it was stuck there. But we do have a meeting the middle of February that we're going to address a lot of issues and concerns, and hopefully we get some positive out of it. Thank you.
Oh.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Chair, I just want to make a motion that we give a directive to the OST Land Committee to address the concerns with the allocation committee. That way we don't get amnesia on that day, that it's coming from this body. That'd be my motion.
Well, we have a motion on the floor, but. Motion to table adjourn. Okay.
Well, I'm looking at, the topic of getting rid of that process, the allocation committee, coming up with a better process that's more fair for the people. Instead of having these individuals who are leasers themselves sit as allocation committee members and give it to their relatives and their friends. We have to come up with a more fair process. So that should be the topic. How do we revamp that whole allocation process? But that's my motion.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilman Steele, second by Councilman Gosper. Did you get it? Okay. Roll call.
Richard Greenwald Senior. Julian Spotted Bear.
Yes.
Lyle Weston.
Now voting.
Jackie Sears.
Uh-huh.
Don Rosberg.
Yes.
Jeremy Rosales.
Yes.
Bo Little White Man.
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston.
Huh.
Blaine Little Thunder.
Yes.
Troy Little.
Yes.
Garfield Still.
Yep.
David Kelly.
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.
Yes.
Anna Halverson.
Yes.
Beef Randall.
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier.
Yes.
$14 yes, 2 not voting, motion carried. And now we'll run the motion to adjourn. Secretary, roll call.
Richard Greenwald Senior. Julian Spotted Bear.
Yes.
Lyle Weston. Lyle Weston.
Yes.
Jackie Sears.
Uh-huh.
Don Gosper. Jeremy Rosales.
Yes.
Bo Little White Man. Sonia Little Hawk Weston. Blaine Little Thunder.
Yes.
Troy Little.
Yes.
Garfield Steele.
Yes.
David Kelly.
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.
Yes.
Anna Halverson.
Yes.
Beef Randall.
Yes.
Norman Standing Soldier.
Yes.
15 yes, 1 not voting, motion to adjourn. Motion carried. All right, thank you, Tribal Council and our guests, and our guest online. We'll adjourn at 1:59. Thank you for your patience, and we'll see you next month.